Thank you, Carrie. Shoot, with an introduction like that, I don't even know if I need to speak. Thank you. My name's Libby. I'm a grateful alcoholic, and that is my best friend right there. Um, I'm gonna start my timer because I can get off track real fast, y'all. All right. So, I'm gonna start with a prayer tonight because that's just the way I like to get myself centered. And I'm gonna say I want to read the 12 step prayer because I really like it. Dear God, my spiritual awakening continues to unfold. The help I have received, I shall pass on and give to others, both in and out of the fellowship. For this opportunity, I'm grateful. I pray most humbly to continue walking day by day on the road of spiritual progress. I pray for the inner strength and wisdom to practice the principles of this way of life in all I do and say. I need you, my friends, in the program every hour of every day. This is a better way to live. Amen. So that's a 12 step prayer on the Everything AA app. And I'm a grateful alcoholic that I have an app that has all the prayers right there on it. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about like what it was like, and then I'm gonna tell you mostly what I did and a little bit about like what it's like now. So let's see. I first came into the program in 2004 when my daughter was 4 years old. And I got 6.5 years of sobriety at that time. Relapse is a part of my story. I just want to mention to the newcomers 3 days back, 30 days back, 18 days back. You guys, hey, relapse is a part of my story. And we can recover. So I relapsed in 2010 and I was out there for 10 years before I crawled back into Alcoholics Anonymous on Zoom. Um, and during that 10-year relapse, I had some really serious consequences, I guess you could say. I had some things happen that were kind of big. Um, and from my mom died in 2013. Um, and then I got divorced. Um, then my ex moved in, and that was a whole thing. And then he moved back out. And so then I met a new guy who also had problem with drugs because I happen to like other people with problems. That's one thing that set me apart and made me feel different when I was out there before I ever made it into AA. First of all, I'm a preacher's daughter. I was raised in faith. Um, and I'm deconstructing that because there was a lot of like stuff that happened within the religion, and so I did not think God wanted anything to do with me. And when I made it into Alcoholics Anonymous, they told me I could choose my own understanding of God. I could come up with my own understanding. I just didn't have to use the one that was given to me. And so that was really helpful. And I stayed sober for 6.5 years, and then I got married in AA. I had a baby in AA, and I relapsed because I stopped doing everything in AA that I did to get sober and stay sober. I stopped praying. I stopped doing inventories. I stopped talking to my sponsor. I stopped talking to my friends. Basically, I was a 35-year-old with a new baby, and it was all I could do to stay sober and take care of the baby. Um, and I didn't stay sober, but I did take care of the baby, I guess. So I relapsed when he was shortly after he was born, actually. And that's something that I wish that I could, if I had a regret, it would be that I wish I could go back and change that because when my son was little, most of that time, I was in a relapse. So I wasn't really present for that. I was present, but I wasn't present, if you know what I mean. I took care of him. I made sure he was fed. I bathed him. I took care of his needs. But was I present for my child? No, not like any of his childhood, really. Um, and so when I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous, I had been drinking on and off for 10 years. I had been with someone for a while, and we had decided that it just wasn't a good idea for me to drink. And if we went out, he would have the alcohol and he would hand it out in a timely manner so that I didn't embarrass him. But we just got to the point where it just wasn't a good idea. And I got like 6 months dry. Okay. And then we went out and I was in a situation I wasn't familiar with. First thing, y'all. I looked at where's an ABC store. And I got drunk that night and then I woke up the next morning and I was ashamed. To put it mildly, I was ashamed. And I didn't think that I could not keep going like I was going because even if I wasn't drinking, I was still dying. And I had tried 2019, New Year's Day, 2019. I went and hid in a car that didn't run and I took a bunch of insulin and I waited to die. And they found me, obviously. They found me. And that got me like 5 days in the psych ward, but I still kept drinking after that. And then that one day I woke up, I said, I can't do this because I know if I still feel like this every day, that I'm gonna make sure next time. So I called my friend and I called my ex-husband's ex-wife after me, Lindsay, and she was my friend, but she was also Aiden's stepmom. I called her and I said, Lindsay, you gotta promise me you'll take care of Aiden. And she said, okay, you got it. But what are you doing right now? I said, I'm driving home. She said, when you get home, call me. We're gonna go on Zoom. We're gonna go on your app, your phone, and we're gonna download Zoom. And I want you to go to a meeting with me. And I said, okay. Because I was like, I didn't have any ideas. So, I said, okay. And I did it. And I went to that meeting. And that was October 20th, 2020. And the next day is my sober date. And so when I came back, there wasn't really a lot of me, but I was powerless over alcohol and a lot of other things. And my life was very unmanageable. So step one, that was easy. And step two, even though I was raised in a religion that did harm, I had a lot of opportunity to see God work in my life, and I had seen him work in other people's lives. mainly Scott Rambo. That's Aiden's dad. And he's an addict and he's out there right now, but um every time he comes back and he surrenders, God blesses him and loves him back and brings him back. And so I know that God can work, right? So that would I didn't know what God, I didn't know how to get to it, but I knew that it could work. So then it was step three. And I think I did step three on my phone with Lindsay that night, actually. I'm not sure. I was doing a Bible study with Edna, and the next morning I asked her if she would sponsor me. But um I knew Edna from in-person meetings many years ago. I knew Edna from right after her husband passed. And and so it was easy for me to ask her because I'd seen God work in her life when her husband passed. So I prayed the third step prayer, and then the next day, and it was like, well, all thing to do is pick up the kit of spiritual tools and start an inventory. And I think I waited. I like started my list, right? But we were starting a workshop called Design for Living. If you guys ever get a chance to go, it's amazing. It's all 12 steps in 14 weeks. And it's really deep, like a lot of questions for each step, and it's really life-changing. But we did that, and then I did that, right? When I first got sober. And was it hard? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes. And I just we worked the steps in the workshop, but the first one was the fourth step that I was like really had to start working on, right? And I had my list. And so I already had the first two columns done. Step four is take a fearless and searching moral inventory. Um, I was going to read those. But anyway, the first step is I'm powerless over alcohol. My life has become unmanageable. The second step is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And the third step is made a decision to turn our will and our life over to care God has understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will. I might have messed up some more words on that one, but and the fourth step is fearless and searching moral inventory. And that's where for me I had to take a look at the things that the third and fourth column is where I see the things in me that causes me to behave in ways that I am ashamed of. And it's self-reliance fails me is always the fear, and external things will fix me, and I'm afraid that I'm not going to get or I'm going to lose something that I need. And so step four was very helpful for me because it had to get, that's where I get down to causes and conditions, to the root of what makes me irritable, restless, and discontent all the time. If I'm not striving for spiritual progress. And anyway, step four, I wrote all that out, and then I did a really deep one because it was workshop, and then I read it to my sponsor. And that's where um that shame started to leave me because I shared it all with her. Like all the stuff that I was capable of at that point. And she still loved me. And she said, I've done some of that stuff too. She couldn't relate to some of it. And she'd say, I've heard other people talk about that. I haven't done it personally, but, basically, he just showed me that it didn't matter. All this stuff that I was so afraid that everybody would find out. Um, First of all, they probably knew it anyway. And second of all, that it's not going to make her run away. She's going to love me anyway. And she has loved me anyway, no matter how many times I screw it up. Um, I haven't relapsed with alcohol, but emotional sobriety is a different story for this alcoholic here. It's something I'm striving for. Um, I think I've had one day emotionally sober, but anyway, Edna loved me anyway. So that was step 5, and then step 6. Oh, step 5 is admitted to ourselves, God, and God, another person, and God, the exact nature of our wrongs. And then step 6 was defects of character. I have it right here. I pulled them up just in case, because sometimes we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And that's what we pull out of our step 4. That's what I pulled out of my step 4. That's where I got that. What are the things that I do that make me, what are the things that push me and drive me, that makes me behave in ways that I want to stick my head in a hole in the sand because I'm ashamed, right? So, am I ready to have God remove those? Simply, yes. Step 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Humbly means less of me, more of you. So if I'm humbly asking God to remove my shortcomings, less of me trying and more of God. And then step 8 was made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. That's that can be really hard for a lot of people. For me, my hardest amends have always been to my partner when I had one. Um, I don't have one anymore, but that was always the hardest amends to make, because that's the acid test, really, because those are really harms that I've done while I'm sober, not while I'm drinking. I can't blame that on alcohol. So, but I made a list, and then I became willing to make amends. Sometimes I have to pray for a while. I have a sister who's we've had a rocky relationship our whole life, and she's currently I currently have it blocked. So I'm praying that I'm willing one day to meet her face to face, but I still don't feel like I'm safe with her. So I still have to keep working on that. I have to pray constantly. Um, I want a sister like I see other people have on Facebook. I just don't have one like that, and that's okay. External things aren't going to fix me. That's not going to fix me. So anyway, some amends you still have to pray for. And let's see, step 9. Anytime you can, get in touch with someone. You're supposed to make them face to face. If you can't do that, you can write a letter, but I've written letters. I just haven't, I don't know if I've sent them, but anyway, step. I'm still working on that. And I have a not only I have a sponsor, I also have a therapist who's really, sometimes we have outside issues. Nah, I got some serious outside issues, y'all. My preacher's daughter. So anyway, um, I'm working on a lot of that stuff. The family dynamics were kind of weird in my house. So anyway, step 10, that's currently the one that I'm really, really applying to my life today. And that's where I continue to take personal inventory when I'm wrong, promptly admit it. And some days I write and I write and I write and I write because I have a lot on my step 10. But some days, um, I don't. It's just, like some days were better than others, but the point of step 10 is not to beat up on myself. It's to make note of the progress and to motivate me to continue to apply these principles in all my affairs, which that comes in a couple of steps. But so anyway, step 10 is that's one where it's like not just at night. I've learned that I have to do it throughout the day. And I keep books with me so I can write. Um and I note triggers and all kinds of stuff. All that's on step 10, right? If I'm triggered, what's the spiritual axiom? The spiritual axiom is whenever I am disturbed, there's something wrong with me. So I'm just been a writing fool lately because I'm tired of these behaviors in me that I don't like. And I'm really ready for God to remove them. So I'm really keeping an eye out today. And step 11, man, step 11, I love that one because that's like the calm, peaceful, yeah, God wraps me in his arms sort of step where I practice the prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God as I understand him. And I don't understand God at all. One day I might understand him, but I seek him. That's one thing I do, honestly. I do it every day. I get up in the morning. If I don't get up and start seeking him first thing in the morning, I might as well just go back to bed and just skip a whole day, really, because it doesn't, I'm not able to be of help to others. So I have to get up and I have to start talking to God and listening to God right away. And then step 12 is that's where we practice. I'm gonna read it. Oh, step 11, I forgot. Praying only for knowledge of his will and the power to carry that out. That's step 11. Yes. Not my will, his will. And then step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And so, like, I've had a lot of spiritual awakenings, y'all. I keep having them. And I'm going to grab on to that little bit of growth every day because it's really beautiful. There's things I've listened to and heard around the rooms for 20 years, okay, that I never understood that all of a sudden makes sense to me. I'm like, wait, what? Okay. So I'm awakening a little bit more I do, each time I work these steps, right? I awaken a little bit more. And I'm really grateful for that because there's a lot of times um where I get down on myself and I think that I haven't improved enough and I get the fuckets. That's what they used to call them. The why bothers. That's when that voice inside side of me is telling me, who do you think you are? And I just God has value for me. God values me, even if I don't see it, right? Because I should have died so many times. In 2000, in 2015, October 12th, 2015, it was during my relapse. Somebody brought me a drug I'd never done. And the second time I did it, I overdosed and died. And my daughter found me the next morning. Actually, I had the death rattle. I died in an ambulance, really, on the way to the hospital. But it was really bad. Like, I almost, like, really, like, seriously, I should not be sitting in front of you. It, there, it was fentanyl involved. And, I, uh, I was in a coma for 10 days. I was on life support for 2 weeks. And, I was in the hospital for 6 weeks. I had a stroke in the bottom, the right side of my brain. I had a heart attack. Um, and the stroke affected the left side of my body. So when I came home from the hospital, like when I got my sister picked me up because I lost everything during that, and I had to crawl up her steps. But you know what? I'm alive. That means that God loves me and He has a purpose for me. So you know what? Even if I'm not doing it right, even if I haven't made a lot of growth in 5 years, I'm still growing. And I'm gonna keep trying. I have gifts today. Today, both my kids live with me. I lost them a couple of times during my relapse. And my son was away from me for 3 years. But I got them back. God gave me them back. And He continues to take care of us no matter what. Um we live in a house right now where we get to be peaceful and calm and decorate it the way we want it. And um even if things have hurt me in my past, all of it brought me to where I am right now. And my daughter had a grandbaby on September 15th. And her name is Raylan Elizabeth. And my name's Elizabeth. And it's such an honor to me that my daughter wanted to name her baby after me. Um, because I did a lot of harm to my children, right? But you know what? That's it was repairable. Some harm is irreparable, right? But my kids were willing to forgive me. And I'm so grateful for that our kids love us, even if we disappoint them over and over again, they just love us, man. And I'm working on being positive and calm and peaceful. And um I've gotten to the place where I can calm me and Raylan down and I can get her to sleep, you guys. Usually with one song. Today I noticed that her eyes are turning brown, and neither one of my kids have brown eyes, so that's really super cool. Um, but I was playing. She was crying because my daughter was warming up a bottle that she had just pumped because she didn't have anything left. It's funny. Anyway, so I was holding her and I was like dancing with her and rocking to my brown eyed girl. And she went to sleep like immediately. And Hope goes, why does she always do that when I'm heating the bottle up? But I'm just grateful that I can be something positive to my family today, because that's really for me. If I can't practice these principles within my four walls of my home, then I'm not much good anywhere else. So, um, you guys, that's 30 minutes. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm just, you know what, I'm gonna stop right there. You know what? Thank you guys for listening to me. Um, and that's all I have to share. Thanks.